Hello there, my name is Hanan and I'm happily creating some videos that can be useful if you're a specialist in the freelance, design or art fields. I've been a freelancer myself for the past 6 years. I've been involved in mostly the humanitarian and NGO design sector. You can learn more about my background by visiting my website, which is linked in the description box below. Today, and since the global economy is unstable, let's talk about money. This is one of the top questions that I get asked by my friends, by my fellow colleagues, designers, freelancers, and consultants. And it makes sense because this is also a question that people ask when they're considering a career in design. So I decided to record this video and use it as a reference in the future if anyone asks me as well. So you have every right to be curious about this because you wish to know if it's worth considering taking certain jobs or side hustles, especially if you have a full-time job, whether remote or in person, and also if it's an ongoing project, a contract. It's good to be sure whether it will cover your living expenses, especially if it's a monthly or ongoing project, or also serve as an added bonus to your savings. Keep watching this video to learn more because in the next minutes I'll share with you some tips on how to charge your freelance projects. Note that rates will change as it depends on which country or city you are living in. Your background, your skills, the company that you're freelancing with, or the client itself. Pricing also changes with different geographies, as economies are rather different, as we know by now. Also, the work structure plays a big role, whether it will be full-time or part-time, or based on an hourly basis project, if the project, for example, is going to be temporary or long-term. Now, I won't be throwing numbers at you as there is no magic number usually, but a general approach in pricing as an independent consultant. It's important how to think about salaries or daily rates and how to evaluate them as well, though it may get tricky when you're setting the standard for yourself. So here we go. First of all, let's start off with favors. Think of it as a full compensation package for a service that you're providing. Instead of focusing on a specific number, there might be side benefits from a project or a client, just like in the barter system. If not instant, perhaps in the few months ahead. This is where favors come in. Now, it's okay to offer them at times as they may come back to you in folds. So instead of focusing on the hourly rate only, sometimes it's good to try and see what other indirect benefits you are getting from the consultancy contract or client, and perhaps strike a deal with them. You give them a collateral for free, and in return they might refer you to their contacts, or they might give you additional work. Also, if it's a client that you regularly work with, from time to time, offer them a free round of feedback, a free collateral design, perhaps one that didn't take you so much time to complete. Second, your rate also depends on the type of contract. Is it annual, monthly, on a project basis? Is it a one-time thing, or the client might be sending you work over a period of time? Third, to consider is the economy, client industry, and the size of business, which impacts the rate as well. For example, the food and beauty industries might have set higher budgets to spend on design and marketing versus other industries, like the steel industry, for example. But this is also related to the general economy of the country. You won't charge a newly opened restaurant or small cafe the same as you would charge a well-known global food chain brand. Fourth, time is not money, but time is of value. How much depth and effort are you bringing into your project? Are you spending a week on it, or perhaps one day? Are you spending 6 months on it? You can estimate how much dedication and the creative input a project requires, from the initial client phase to the brief, to the talking and agreement with the client until the delivery. If from your experience you feel it needs more than a week, then account for this in your financial proposal. Fifth, set a fixed rate for yourself. How much would you charge your day? This can be an indication of your hourly rate as well, but how do you calculate that? Take your current full-time salary and divide it over the days of the month. For example, if your net salary as a full-timer in a company is 3,000 USD, then divide it over the working days of the month without the weekends. So let's say you get 130 USD per day. Divide that over 8 hours, you get 16.25 USD. Now you add to that your fixed cost, which I will get into in a bit. This way you can estimate if a logo will take you 3 working days to complete, which means 8 multiplied by 3, 8 hours multiplied by 3, 24 hours. Then you do the math. Again, this can apply if you are working in the Middle East region, more than maybe in the Western region of the world. But if you're working, for example, in Australia, there are already set hourly rates for freelance designers depending on their level of expertise. For instance, junior designers and freelancers in specific may have an hourly rate of 30 to 40 AUD. And mid-range designers may have a rate of 50 to 70, and seniors may reach up to 100 AUD per hour. Yes, and this is where geography, daily life expenses, and economy play a big role. 6, you can have both fixed and flexible rates depending on the deliverable which you are working on, whether it's a poster, a logo uplift, or a landing page for a website. Having a fixed rate range can make it easier for clients to refer you to their own friends. You can set a price list for a logo design to be, for example, 1,000 USD with a package of 3 logo options, 3 rounds of feedback, and a color palette for each. And you can keep it flexible for other unclear collaterals like brochure design, because you don't know yet the content and the level and the amount of text that it will include, or the amount of imagery work, or whether it includes illustrations or not. 7, again, as mentioned in point 5, remember to always consider your fixed cost. If your skill costs 17 USD per hour, then we can also estimate your fixed cost, like internet, electricity, transportation, fuel, taxes, printing, admin work, technology products, software, funds, etc. By adding these, your hourly rate amounts to 38 USD. So your daily rate becomes approximately 300 USD, and that's fair enough. Now we can also think in terms of academic degrees versus experience. This is a whole topic by itself. You can go ahead and charge higher if you have a master's degree, but only if the project is really related to the degree. But we'll talk about this later on, especially now that experience is becoming more important and more in demand versus academic qualifications, especially those that are really advanced and take many years to complete. And now with the growth of online learning, shorter courses are becoming even more popular. And before we finish, number 9, take into consideration the collateral itself. Creating an identity, if it's just a logo, is not the same as designing a booklet for a fashion store that might change in 4 months. A logo will live for many years. So what is the life expectancy of the product or design that you are creating? Also, it's good to consider how to recycle not only content, but also designs. We look into that also later on. Finally, there's no need to obsess so much on the charge, as the most important is that you focus on what you enjoy doing, because if you hate what you do, then you won't be successful, or you won't be able to complete your mission when it comes to, for example, employing design in certain sectors, whether it's for advertisement, for the humanitarian field, for the healthcare, or for the banking, for example, system. You won't be able to achieve that if you're not passionate. Alright guys, so that's it from this video. I hope that it was helpful. If you have more questions, you can ask me in the comments below. My contacts are also listed in the description box. I'm going to ask you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. It's important for the growth of this channel and for this information to reach more people, especially these days when remote work and freelancing and consultancy careers are becoming even more in demand due to the COVID situation and the lockdown. Please help it reach more people so they can succeed in their freelance careers. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate spending your time on this piece of content. Take care, guys.